Are you guys able to spot the differences? These two are both the break and retest strategy, and they both are retesting both the markets. Which one is clear? Of course, you guys can see that this one is clear because it's clean, right? This one is not clean. It's very simple because right now it's in hindsight. But are you able to trade when it's live? Are you able to trade when you actually see the candles forming and just make quick decisions? The context always matters when you're trading the break and retest. Both of these levels, I'd say they're pretty strong. So I'll say the levels are pretty good, but just because they're good, it doesn't mean that you just take a trade right off a break and retest. Simply put, a break and retest is a break of a key level. So this, let's say it breaks above this level and gives you a retest, and then you take the position there. But just because it breaks and does a retest, it doesn't mean you always take the long. As you see here, I did take this trade because it was a clean break and retest. Here, this is not a clean break and retest. But just because I say that now, it's in hindsight. Let's say I did take it earlier and I probably would have lost. And I definitely would have lost because there was no continuation and it's just very choppy around this area. It's very easy to say because you just see it. But when you're trading live and you're just watching the markets just form candles, and you're just not really gonna know what's actually going to be clean, right? It took time for me to actually understand how the candles form and how an actual clean break and retest is. And even if you see it multiple times and when you trade, you might take it multiple times, and that's what I did. I took these type of trades a lot of times and I just lost, and I couldn't understand why I lost. It only matters if you're able to process the candlesticks live and able to trade live, because that's what's happening. You can't trade in hindsight. Hey guys, it's Will. Welcome to the channel. I'm a part-time day trader trying to become a full-time. All right, so how do we spot a break and retest? How do we spot that it's going to be a clean level and to take a trade? Just because there's a break and retest, it doesn't mean you always take the trade. In your head, you're telling yourself, I want to take the trade because it's my system. It's a break and retest. So if you don't see it often, and then once you actually see it, once you actually start seeing a break like this, you think it can work because you haven't taken a trade in a while and you want to take a trade. So you're telling yourself that this could win and I had a potential to win, but then you realize you just lose immediately, and then you might retake the trade and you just keep doing the same thing over and over and just keep losing. And that's a mistake that I always kept doing back in the past. It's normal. It's going to happen. You just gotta keep understanding that and just keep backtesting, journaling to understand that there is price action like this, and then there's also price action like this. For me to understand what a good break and retest is that it has to do a big break of the level. And it could be one candle, it could be a couple candles, but it does have to break. It has to have a nice break and then slowly retesting the level. As long as it's holding and it's like not being choppy, it's like not going up and down this level, like how this is right here. This is like very choppy. That's how you know it's not gonna retest. But if it's like this, you see how it doesn't really even break under it. It just is holding, it does a nice break, and then later it gives you a retest. That's how a good break and retest is. Although it's not a full candle above this in the beginning, it's still building, and then later it gives you that nice retest right there. But on the left, it shows that this level is pretty strong. This is the pre-market high. It rejects right there. It rejects again. Let's say I was only looking at the charts like this, right? I don't see anything right here. This is good. And then later the market opens, it rejects again. Okay, that's good. But if it finally does give you a break, like it gives you a nice strong break like this, then it gives you a retest, yeah, that can be fine. But when you keep looking through the day, like the candles keep forming, and then later it starts breaking up, and this is not a big break right here. That's not a big break. You want the candles to be like this, 10 points, 20 points, like if you're on NASDAQ, but that's what you want to see. And then later gives you a retest. But this is like very, very tight, chopping up, and that's like, it's going to fail. Just from seeing this candlesticks, I know I don't need to take a trade because it's not clear. It's not going to be a strong level. Although I game plan for this, but if I don't see it, if I don't see my confirmation, I'm not going to take a trade. We then do more, and then at this point, it's still chopping up around this level. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to look at the charts anymore. As soon as I saw this right here, I was like, okay, I can just leave my computer. I can just not even trade anymore because this is my setup. This is the only setup I want to take today, and it's weak. What's the point of me just trying to just wait and just look for a price action that's good, because I know it's gonna dance around this level, and this level is not even strong anymore, because as you see every day, this whole day, it's like doing that, and pretty much it is finally giving you that retest right here. But you're not gonna get your target like this. Like my target is up here, and this is like chopping me up for like 2 hours doing absolutely nothing. Then later day it can just like go back down, and then I just lose the trade. So there's no point in me trying to do this if the price action was not clean in the first place. I am going to break down this day if you guys want to check it out. This is October 22nd, and this was also a clean price action. The NASDAQ was clean. It had a previous day's lows right here, and I also had the level. So what happens was that there was a nice break. This is a really big break, and first of all, you don't chase it because you know the strategy is a break and retest. So this right here is not a retest. This right here is not a retest. When you see this, people like to chase, but you know that you need a retest because that's the strategy. It's not a break and just trade. It's a break and retest. So when it actually does give you that retest, now people get scared because they think their trade is not working anymore, or you don't enter the trade because you're scared that it's going to just go higher, but you know that you need the retest, and once it starts rejecting, that's when you take the trade. And that downside was really big, so you could have got your TP no problem. But for the ES though, it was a little different. It was a previous low area right there. I wanted the level to break 67.45, and then it did not give you that break right there. That's not clean. That's a fake out. You can't just take a trade because that's not a big break. And then once you go down here, you see that there is a big break this time, a better break, but you know that you need the retest. Although this is the retest, this actually takes time as well, because even though there is a break, you see that big break and you're starting to see the retest, it doesn't always mean it's going to break down because the contexts are always different. You see how there's a downtrend on the ES, goes down, goes up, goes down, up, down. So it has to go up again, and this right here is not really going up, and it has to follow the trend, right? You see how there's a nice trend right here, so that it has to follow that. So eventually you'll understand that it'll need to retrace more because this may just fake you out, and that's what it did. And then now this is basically, even though it's not a big break, it is that retest you needed, and then later it starts rejecting, and then you could have got your target right there. You either understand that you just need a better retest and make sure that the levels are really clean, or you just have the proper level. Maybe it would have been this previous low levels, then I could have got it properly. Hope you guys learned something about the break and retest and how to actually spot the proper retest, and just understand that every chart is different, and always the context is always different from every chart. Just understanding which level is clean, which level is not clean, and it just takes time. Before, I used to trade, and I was literally playing games, and once I saw my levels and it hit the proper levels and I just saw retest and I knew that it was clean, I would take it and it will work. But then later I just kept doing the same thing, but it just didn't work because the context matters. Your level has to really matter, because if it's a bad level, the retest doesn't matter because it's not going to work. So you need the proper level, and then you also need the proper retest. And what I like to say is, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Keep staying disciplined, keep staying consistent, and let's just get 1% better every day. And I'll see you in the next one.